Ook wel. Oh, ha, ha. I know this is going to be a bit of a repeated subject, but privatisation is a fucking failure. Or at least mass privatisation, like the Tories want things, is a fucking failure, and they refuse to see it. All again, I reiterate. All the promises that we keep getting is if you let us in the private sector deal with it, we'll put more investment into it. We'll make things run better. But they haven't done. And even if they have, it's been incremental at best. So where has the rest of the money gone? We're not getting our money's worth. The NHS, people say it's not privatised or it's not being privatised. Well, it is. Most of the money that the NHS gets goes straight out to contractors, private contractors. Go and look for it yourself. But it's really stupid. This is more from a socialist point of view, I get that, but Carl's having an argument. How long can this go on before we kick off? And how long before either a change of leadership, a change of party leadership puts us on the better path, or we descend into actual fascism where we actually end up becoming a proper police state? People think it's bad already. Fuck that. If we become an actual police, if it gets worse with the Tories, we could end up being a police state. It sounds very extremist and absolutist, but we could. Look at the way they're clamping down on protest. Especially non-violent protest. If they think you're annoying, you're off the streets. Steve Bray. Good man. Pretty Patel. Ugly Patel. Can fucking do one. Yeah, you can fucking have a go at me for insulting her like that. I don't give a fuck. She treats the rest of us with contempt. For nearly every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And she's got her comeuppance coming. Fucking bitch. If you're watching this, ugly Patel, come and arrest me. Come and show your discrimination, you fucking bitch. Again, it's not racism. This is a class. This is the Tories using race as a class to disguise the class problem. It's been almost masterfully done, except people have noticed. So it's not masterfully done. But not enough of people have noticed. This is the problem. And people keep believing the bullshit they're feeding them. These policies that you hear Les Truss coming out with, she doesn't even mean. What's the betting? She doesn't even mean half of them. Half of them. There's a bunch that she does mean, probably. But will she be bounced into nationalising stuff in emergency? Maybe, but I don't think so. I get that we do have to be practical about this. So nationalising everything straight up would be probably fiscally ridiculous. But to set it up so we can do it in the long term, well, I don't see why that's not a problem. it is. It's all based on the lie of, oh, trust us with all our money, and our ethos of taking all your money and making you work for as little amounts as we can get away with. And we promise to make things better. We promise. For us. And again, you get you get idiots from the general public who seem to think that this way of life is how things should be. What on earth are you doing? Gods no. We're all being led down this garden path with privatisation, and there seems to be an endless slide where we're losing different bits of our human rights that were made in this country. Everything's being eroded. Things were never perfect, but things were better than they have been in the last 12 years. Since the Tories took over, things have visibly gotten worse. And yet, ever since I've become politically aware, most of the bullshit I've been fed is, on the opposing side, is, oh no, you're just over-exaggerating. Oh, what other way is there? Socialism. Despite the fact that most of the time, historically, socialism has been exercised by criminals. Stalin was a fucking criminal. Mao was a fucking criminal. And not just someone labelled by the state as a criminal, someone whose lifestyle, someone whose way of thinking was criminal. That's what happens when you get people like that in charge of socialism. When you get someone who actually likes, actually knows what they're doing. I can't remember their name, but there's a bunch of South American leaders over the years that each Central and South American leaders, I should say, that when they've come in and they've introduced socialist policies, have done well for the country. Even on this island, or these islands, Clement Attlee's socialism brought about the welfare state and the NHS, right? Without that, many of us wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be surviving. Yes, the Tories have stripped both of these down as far as they can possibly get it so far. But the evidence shows that under the last Labour government, the NHS and the welfare system had true investment. So that between 2008 and 2010, the economy actually started to grow. It recovered, and we were hit. We weren't hit as badly as we could have been. Could have been done differently. Could have been done better. But if we had the people we have in charge now dealing with the problems, with that problem back then, we'd be in a worse position now. Just saying. Well, we'd likely be in a worse position now, I should say. But yeah. So, where has privatisation led us? Mass privatisation. It's led to our country becoming an absolute laughingstock, and the people of the country in a worse state than they were 12 years ago. That's the conclusion to this. And everyone followed the liar. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people. So many people followed the liar, which led, or the liars, but the big fat blonde liar, which led us into even worse problems. And now look at him. He's fucking. demanded he stay in charge until the new leader come about, but doesn't want to do a fucking thing about it. And you can give me all the bullshit you want about protocol, but this is supposed to be an emergency situation. Apologies. Constant interruptions. Oh, yeah. But yeah, no. Where does the privatisation stop? Does is every aspect of our lives going to belong to someone else? With the government, what people don't understand is that they have to go, for the most part in this country, we're supposed to go by public consent. Just like with the police, it's supposed to be done with public consent, not through force. Now, I do understand that, you know, with the way Boris Johnson's government has behaved, you know, forcing legislation through and such, it's not been, you know, liberal, especially. But, you know, it's not how our government is supposed to work, hence all the complaints. Again, I'm not saying just upfront nationalise everything. I mean, I'd like to do that, but that's not practical. So you can at least start off with water, rail, and mail. At least. Bring back the Royal Mail. Bring back the Royal Mail to its former glory. You know, like going postal. Terry Pratchett, by the way. Good book. An ex-missus was constantly on at me, trying to get me to read it, and I regret not reading it sooner. So, cheers. But yeah, we need to wake up, people, because the mass privatisation is going to continue to make our lives worse. And the lies people are like, why should we trust Starmer? I'm not saying completely trust Starmer. No one really completely trusted Blair, not really. But standard of living went up still under Blair and under Brown. So make your judgment on facts, not on the lies that people have been telling you. It's going to be all from me from now for a minute. Please just make your own cognitive decisions. Use critical thinking. I'm not against all business. I'm not against small business. What I'm against are massive corporations, monopolist corporations. And they end up swallowing up small businesses, and the policies that the Tories keep coming up with aren't actually helping small businesses. And they're barely helping the medium ones. It's the big businesses that get the most help from the Tories, because they are the ones that are giving the Tories the most money. Wake up. The system needs a revamp. It needs a rehaul. An overhaul. An overhaul. We can't do that with Tories still in power. I hope everyone is doing okay, surviving through this bullshit. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. Har en god kväll. Blessad ur sig. Det blir en shadow